Okay, we're live on one, and now please just hold on while we go live on the second. Hopefully.
3, 2,
1.
Live!
Looks like we are live on that one. Double check the first one because sometimes. Hey, we're live on both. Welcome to the 3:15 book break on 3:16.
Yes.
Welcome, in fact, to the 3:16 3:15. Are you happy?
I am, thank you.
There you go.
Librarian Mark here did that just for me because that's the type of wordplay I enjoy. I'm Librarian Cara.
There we go. All right, let's get into this. First up, today we out in the library right now, we have a display of first in series, first titles and things like that. And so I actually wanted to talk about one of my favorite authors. And the reason I'm bringing it up is it's Terry Pratchett. And there are 42 different Discworld books. And that's a lot. What I like to say about him is that there's actually many first books if you're thinking about getting into Pratchett. There is the very first, The Color of Magic. Okay, this is the first Discworld, and it follows a wizard called Rincewind, who has several books that are just about him. And then you can actually, and he appears as a character throughout a lot of the other books as well. You have The We Free Men, which is the first in the Tiffany Aching series, which is more of a junior YA series. You've got Guards, which is the first in the Sam Vines series. You've got Weird Sisters, which is technically the second, if you don't count Equal Rights.
Weird Sisters, which is yes, technically the second.
Indeed. Okay. There we go. But there's a whole bunch. And then there's also
Going Postal. So I think that Terry Pratchett is one of the most recommended authors, and not for everybody. And the only one I've actually liked as a series that I've tried so far was Going Postal, which is funny because I think it's one of your least favorite.
Not a fan, but I don't mind it. But anyway.
Yeah, but when the character's named Moist.
It's a gross name.
Moist.
There's many firsts within Pratchett, and we're always happy to talk about those.
Entry points are important. So speaking of firsts, did you know that about 110 years ago, Ernest Shackleton tried to be the first to the South Pole?
I did know that.
He failed.
He did.
But that's okay, because then he said, now I'm going to be the first to cross Antarctica from side to side. And that's where we get the story of the Endurance, which, if you heard on the news this week, they found the ship underwater. But I'm going to say what is far cooler than finding the ship, which we mostly vaguely knew where it was, is the fact that we didn't have to re-find, that we always knew where these amazing glass negative picture plates were. They had a photographer from Australia, on that trip, who documented their 2 years being stranded on the ice and almost dying with photography using glass negatives. And this book, which is The Endurance, Shackleton's Legendary Antarctic Expedition by Caroline Alexander, puts a whole lot of those glass negative photographs into the book, and you can really experience something that 1914 you wouldn't think you'd get to see as much.
Oh,
like
fantastic.
The actual photos instead of drawings. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Another number one, Bitter Root. This is a graphic novel, and we'll it is by David F. Walker and Chuck Brown. They did these guys have done a lot of work together. This is set in the Harlem Renaissance, and there's monsters. And I really enjoyed this book. It's got the art is beautiful. Like there's lots of greens, like, and the colorization in this, like there's lots of greens and purples, and then you'll throw to another page of just monster craziness of purples and reds and yellows. It's a really colorful monster hunting book rather than a book just of grim and darkness. There are 3 volumes in the series right now. They are all available at your Springfield Public Library.
Well, it's funny because you might totally think that we're being inspired by imagery and art or flowery words, because my next one is also a graphic novel. It is called Fence by C.S. Pacat and illustrated by somebody called Johanna the Mad, which is a spectacular name.
It's a good name for an artist.
It really is. There are 4 of these so far on the shelves. This comes from the Young Adult graphic novel collection, and it is about high school fencing, which graphic novels are actually really surprisingly good at doing sports. I'm actually being more inspired today by adventure in sports and games. And Prince of Tennis, for instance, one of my favorite manga, and it's literally watching the ball being drawn back and forth across the page, and it's spectacular. But here you've got some lovely fencing and just great imagery. Teaches you a bit about fencing too, but mostly a fun story about kids in boarding school fencing.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to jump back to a galaxy far, far away.
Wait, Star Trek?
Yes, that one. No, the other one. The other one. Okay, this is Star Wars Aftermath by Chuck Wendig. Star Wars is obviously huge. We've got The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and all the other things that are coming out right now. We also have this series called Star Wars Aftermath, and this is canonical, and it falls in between episodes 6 and 7. We've talked a lot about Murderbot. This has another Murderbot in it as well.
Spoilers? No, I'm kidding.
It's okay. You made it pretty early on. And it also, you end up having Wedge Antilles in it as well.
Ooh.
But I like this series. The reason I'm bringing this one up is that there are many different Star Wars series that we have over in the fiction section, if you are interested, as well as the classic non-canonical Timothy Zahn, which, if you're into Star Wars in the mid-90s, you probably read. They are now non-canonical. However, because Thrawn was such a great character, he got brought back. I believe he got brought back first in Rebels, or possibly the books. Anywho, Timothy Zahn is writing Thrawn again, and we have 2 Thrawn series. We've got Thrawn, and then we have Thrawn, the Chiss Ascendancy, and they are available as well.
One of the things I love about Star Wars in the library is that we've got Star Wars books for every age, essentially. So there's some great new books coming out in the young adult section as well, and there's stuff for the littles. It's fun.
It really
Star
is.
Wars for the whole family.
Cool.
So again, I'm going for that sort of adventure gaming thoughts today, but when you think sports and gaming, do you always think about virtual sports? Because it's definitely a thing that's on the rise in the world. And this is Warcross by Marie Liu. It is a story of a near future where a lot of people spend time in a virtual world. They use glasses to enter this virtual world. No, it's not like Ready Player One. It is more used for virtual gaming, I would say, than like for your spending your whole life. But our main character here, Emeka Chen, manages to hack her way into a major international level virtual gaming session and then get invited to play as a real character. And then there's intrigue and stuff, as there would be in a young adult science fiction book. But I actually think this is a really great crossover for adults as well who would enjoy this.
Excellent. Excellent.
We read it in book club with the teens a couple months ago.
Oh, cool. Well, sticking with the teens, I'm going to share my last 2 books. We will start off very quickly with Dread Nation by not by Jane McKean. Jane McKean is who it's in it by Justine Ireland. The Battle of Gettysburg happened, and then the dead rose, and America is very, very different.
Wait, the living dead rose, not
The
as
living
in
dead.
a dead flower.
Indeed, yes.
Good. Just
Thank you
making
for
sure.
This is a zombie book. It's a zombie book that deals with race and history and youth. Basically, the idea behind this series is that the South kind of ended up winning after the dead rose, and African American and Native American youth were taken away and trained to be attendants, which is a lady's maid, a butler, that kind of thing. It's just that they also got trained how to kill zombies. And they're not all happy about that, particularly Jane McKean. There are 2 books in this series, and there's a lot of librarians here that really enjoy this series. The other one...
I do think it's better than Pride and Prejudice and zombies, but if you want historical zombies, there are a couple of choices. It's not an empty genre.
It's not. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. And then finally, I'm just going to share this one really quickly. Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a great little series about set in Nigeria, discovering that you have, well, the main character, she is a witch, and then learning how to use it, learning her culture after moving back to Nigeria from America. And the reason why we're sharing that is because it has a sequel, Akata Warrior, and then the third in the trilogy, Akata Woman. We just got into the library today. You can't borrow it today because I have it checked out, but you can place it on hold, and I promise I will bring it back very quickly.
And then finally, if I were to join a competition of some sort, I would absolutely want it to be a baking competition. And so we bring you Nadiya Bakes, which is a book by Nadiya Hussain, who won one of the Great British Bake Off seasons a couple years ago. For those of you who watch on Netflix, that's the Great British Baking Show. But for those of us who started watching it before Netflix got it, it's Bake Off. And this is a gorgeous book, including recipes. Of course, no nutritional information because, sometimes when you're going to cook such delicious things, you're better off not knowing. But it is a wonderful look at what Nadiya has been up to since winning. She has been doing very cool baking things since, including having her biography come out. In fact, her autobiography, Finding My Voice. And so we have another cookbook too, don't we, by her?
Oh, we've got a couple.
Yeah. So if you can't get enough of Bake Off and you want to try your hand at some things yourself, then she's a great person to follow.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the 315 Book Break.
On 316.
On 316. We hope you had a great day, and we'd love to see you in the library. Bye, everybody. All right.
And now we'll sit here and pretend to talk.
Yeah.
The music plays ahead.
Music is playing and blah, 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 blah. That's one. All right. And there goes the second. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.